Hello everyone, Matt Vadney here. I'm here to explain how to use a very simple, very plain, somewhat graphic organizer that's focused on the text structure of describe. Now, normally when we think about describing something or descriptions, we think about looks. But there's so much more to explaining and describing an object or an idea. Than just how it looks. It's also about how you use it, or what is it used for, where would you get it, what would people say about it. So there's multiple dimensions to when you describe something. So here we have a graphic organizer, and it's a series of questions that ask you the obvious. What is it? What does it look like? What does it do? But then it gets into how is it used? Who would use it? Why would they use it? Good question. Where would you find one? What do others say about it? Why is it necessary or useful? What questions do people ask about this thing? Now, normally, you don't necessarily have to answer all of these, and it wouldn't work, let's say, if you were talking about a concept. But if you're talking about a noun, say a fork, it would actually work just fine. In fact, why don't I do that real quick? So, I'm going to just start off with a general statement about what I think about forks. Forks are very useful. There, just very simple statement. Now, when you're using this graphic organizer, you make the composition process so much easier when you just use complete thoughts to respond. Now, when you take the information from this organizer and put it into a composition, you're not going to include these prompts. So when you answer them, you want to be complete in your response and not assume that the writer sees those questions. Though it certainly is, it would probably language-wise work okay if you included the questions in your composition, but it would be kind of weird and it would be less interesting. So first of all, what is it? I would say forks are utensils that we use to eat food. Okay, what does it look like? They are usually made of metal, though sometimes plastic, and they have a long handle. They are about, what would you say? 7 inches long and have 4, these are called tines, I believe, tines at one end. What does it do? Forks are used to move food chunks to our mouths when we eat. Oh my goodness, I missed my N. We eat. How's it used? After you cut your food up into bite-sized pieces, you spear the food with the tine end of the fork and move the food into your mouth to eat. Who would use it? Let's see. Who would use it? Anybody who does not want to handle their food with their fingers will use forks, right? Okay, I know, kind of obvious, but you just are writing complete sentences in response to each thing. And again, don't assume people know about the questions. Why would they use it? People use these to handle more messy foods. There you go. They don't want to get their fingers messy. I know I'm just kind of using the same word. Where would you find one? You can buy forks at stores like Bed, Bath, and Beyond. See, if you're going to be specific about a store, by all means capitalize the name. Or places like a dollar store. You could also say Walmart or Target, you know, wherever you think you would buy it. What do others say about it? People generally prefer, well, it's not about preferring. What do they say about it? People generally like forks because it makes seeing other people eat less distracting. How's that? Why is it necessarily useful? Using forks is part of expected behavior among people. It shows a neatness and a control over one's eating habits. How about that? And what questions do people ask about these things? People usually ask for one whenever they are served food. Now, of course, it's not on here, but there's a conclusion. You know, when you write anything about anything, you should have a conclusion. I'm going to just type underneath here. Well, maybe I can't. I guess I'll have to wait for the composition process. The benefit of doing this on a word processor is now you can just go ahead and select each of your entries, Control-C, or if you're using an Apple product, Command-C. Go to your composition document. Yes, we have our name. And we put the date. And there's guidelines. So I'm going to click underneath here, put the tab key. Yeah. Control-V. There we go. All right, but I'm getting rid of this thing, and I'm changing the font size to 12. That's just more attractive. Press the space bar twice, and you just go down your chart. Okay? Forks are useful. Make sure when you do that, you're only highlighting the words, not the whole box, or else the transfer process will take the whole box. Control-C. You'll really just have a series of boxes. Control-V. Press the space bar twice. Don't press the enter key. The word processor will move you down to the next end for you. Control-C. All right, Control-V. Making sure the cursor's right where you want it to be. And you just go through the whole process here. All right. Yeah, Control-V, there, spacebar. Alrighty. See, not too difficult. Control-V, press the spacebar twice. Okay. Here we go. Just trying to be quick here, and that is the point, right? Control-C, because after all, if you're a kid or a teenager using this to describe something, maybe your teacher's assigned you something to describe, let's face it, you want to go off and do something else. You want to have fun, but you want to do your work and you want to have structure. That's the great thing about graphic organizers, is that they structure whatever we have to say, and we just can go through a very quick process of composition. So far, this video has been about 10 minutes, and I'm almost done with my assignment. Okay. Now, granted, it does help to be someone who's done this before, and I've done this kind of activity before, and I know what I want to say. So I certainly know all about forks. Now, I do have this problem where there was no room for a conclusion, but I can put that there. I can say, thank goodness for the invention of forks. There we go. And I have a conclusion. Now, of course, at this point, it would now be time to edit and revise and make sure everything's clear, reread what I wrote. And the thing is, just in a superficial sense, my paragraph looks fine. So in about 11 minutes, with the exception of carefully rereading it and editing and revising it, I got a writing assignment done thanks to a graphic organizer. Okay, well, pretty good time well spent. Wouldn't you agree?